But I say it's just practice, practice, practice. But yeah, the face is your face and your personality is the most important thing when it comes to a business, I feel.
Hello and welcome to McGrawesome Sauce, the podcast all about helping entrepreneurs to level up and become awesome. My name is Nick McGraw. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I got to talk to the man, the myth, the legend in logo design, James Martin from Made by James. James is a personal hero of mine. He's an amazing logo designer and someone that I look up to for inspiration all the time. James has come a long way in his career, and he would be the first to tell you that it's not all been just success after success. There were a lot of hard, difficult times and a lot of soul searching on his journey to becoming the designer that he is. We talked about what young designers can do today to get ahead and what they can look forward to as they build their own design businesses. James is a great friend, a great person, and I loved every second that I got to spend with him. If you're looking to up your design game and become a better designer, you're going to want to listen to this episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beard Olympics podcast with me, your host, Nick McGrawesome, and three-time gold medalist in the Beard Olympics, James McBeard Martin. James, thanks for what an intro that is, eh?
I'll tell you what, that is the best one yet. I must
you like
admit,
that one?
I do like it, and I must admit I did have a little trim today as well. So I'm feeling coiffured, which is always good, which is not bad for a Wednesday.
I know you're a three-time gold medalist in the Beard Olympics, and I have not podiumed yet, but I still like my chances as
you have been close a couple of times, but you just picked at the post, as they say. That's what it is. Yeah.
I'll be standing in qualification with you, and I'll say, you like my chances this year, James?
I look forward to seeing you again this year.
That's right. And James says, that silver medal is going to look really good around your neck. I think that'll look really good.
Yeah, you'll get there. I mean, we're way behind a lot of people, but in this conversation, I'm definitely winning, so that's good.
I know. I'm not gonna. I have a couple more years, I think, of the oils and the balms to inject into it.
Oh no, there's no oil, no balm, just dedication and about a decade. But the problem is, this is we're supposed to be talking about design, but beards are much more fun. I think
the design of beards.
Yeah, mine has just stopped. I think it's sometimes when I finish work, I'll look down and I'll just find like stray hairs everywhere. I've just been stroking my beard. No wonder it's not getting any longer because I keep pulling the fucker out.
Do you brush it at all? Do you groom, or is it just
no? I do give it a good shampoo, in the morning. But apart from that, I just kind of let it roam. Just let it roll. Yeah.
I mean, you have an aesthetic of experience about you, I think. And I don't mean just you. I mean in general, like you.
Is that your way of saying I'm dirty? I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah. No, wise and experienced. This unwashed, unshowered look to me is just proof that I know a lot more than everyone else. That's what it is.
It's deceiving. It is deceiving.
Yeah, you're right. We should totally map this back to entrepreneurship.
At some stage.
Talk about work at some point, but beards are work, man. This is
it's harder work than logo design, I can tell you that much.
It's harder work. Yeah, we can do that part in our sleep, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
James, thank you so much for talking to me today. This conversation is obviously going to be about entrepreneurship and our journey to our I guess essentially our path to why we chose to do what we did, and the journey that we take. And yours is super fascinating. Yours is very raw and a very human look at what it is to be an entrepreneur. And you've shared a little bit of your story with me already, and how you're like 15 years into this. You've pushed yourself into your career for a long time, and the success is starting to pour in over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that and like where you got your start and why you decided to do this.
Yeah, so but how long have we got? Because I can give you like the medium long version or the medium to short version. Let's go medium short, and then we can always dive in a bit
Give
more.
me everything that's just design focused instead of all the peripheral stuff as well, because I know there's a
Okay,
lot of
cool.
that too.
Yeah, so basically, for design wise, I suppose I've always been creative growing up. I was always way more arty, into my art and design, and I was never particularly good at like the maths and the sciences. So I was more like the sporty, arty one rather than the clever one, I would say. But it's weird. But and so big, and it was obviously it's like when I was growing up, you know, an art as a career was never really a viable choice. I'm talking, early 90s, mid
Yeah.
90s. It was still very, it's a hobby, it's not a career. Do it as a hobby, go and be a geography teacher or whatever else was the only other thing I could probably do back then was geography because I was doing art, design, and geography. So that was the only thing I could really do. But yeah, so yeah, basically, kind of a long story short, kicked out of school, lost my life for a few years, and then kind of the one thing that I always kind of fell back on was art and creativity. So I got myself into college. I say I always wanted to be an artist, and then did an art foundation. And after that, basically just to kind of break it down for anybody who doesn't know what an art foundation is, it's basically a year's college course where you do sculpture, fine art, life drawing, graphic design, textiles, and all the other bits and pieces. And then after that year, you kind of go to your tutor, and he kind of says, "This is possibly a direction for you." So I went into graphic design. Didn't have a clue what graphic design was at the time, just said yes because I was just looking for some sort of direction, um, and really enjoyed it. And then from there went on to uni. While I was at uni, I went and got a graphic design, like a junior design position at an agency, basically not close to me but around here. And then basically worked there for 5 years, learned a lot, and then started my own agency, Baby Giant Design Co. About just under 11 years ago now.
Wow.
And yeah, now I'm here talking to you. That is the short version.
And every decision I've made up until this point has led me to here.
Yes,
And
this is why I'm here right now.
this is
Yeah.
the culmination of all my success talking to Nick.
All of my effort has got me to this particular point, Nick, and I
And,
appreciate it.
and aren't you fulfilled? Aren't you
I
like so
am. I tell you what,
satisfied with
this
it?
is
This
why
has
I'm
been worth it.
standing up. I'm jiggy. It's good. I love it.
Yeah, he has a standing desk now, which is I'm very jealous of. I
Yeah, it's
want to
really good
stand.
for my back. 15 years, especially as I draw a lot as part of my
Yeah,
process. It's not
yeah.
just kind of the tap tap tap. It's the I
I was gonna
draw
say
very close.
the unromantic, the unsexy view of design is where we're hunched over in a dark cave, just one spotlight on our papers, and we're just drawing like 2 centimeters from the page, and we're like, this
Yeah.
logo's got to come together.
Yeah, and then we wonder why our eyes and our backs hurt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we want people wonder why designers are sometimes difficult to work
Yeah.
with, or
Yeah.
maybe it's the clients, James. I'm not sure, but
Well, so sometimes it's a bit of both, isn't it?
it is a bit of both. People are people, right?
Yes, for sure.
I love the fact that we sound like we have a similar path in the early days, in that we kind of were trying to figure it out in high school. Maybe it's not coming together, so we go to college, we go do that a foundation course. For me, it was just literally called Art Fundamentals over here
Yeah.
in Canada, and it was that 1 year foundation course, and you were exposed to a bunch of stuff, and you're still figuring it out, and you're still not sure, is can I make a career out of this? And
Yeah.
yours was you're a little bit ahead in your career than me, and for you it's the early to late 90s. For me, it's the early to mid 2000s. And I was hearing the same things from people, man. I was hearing the same things from parents and from counselors. you should really have a backup plan, because if this whole art career doesn't work out, what's a design career? You really can't make
Yeah.
money off that. Have you considered engineering? It's not too
Yeah.
late to go into a trade, son. And I remember
Mm.
hearing this, and I think it was just the lack of exposure to it, because there's no designers in my family. I would have been the first, right? And so
Yeah.
they hadn't seen evidence of success in this field. My mom's a nurse and my dad's in trades, and he's a sales guy.
Yeah.
And it's not just them, it's others too. It's like I was the first of my kind around all my friends, around all my family, who would pursue a design career, and it was scary because it was unknown.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, funny enough, my mum's a nurse and my dad is he's not a salesman, but he's a like an engineer. So yeah,
Right,
very traditional for their for their generation.
right.
Trade nurse. Very
Yeah.
stereotypical, but they worked very hard. I mean, I'm very blessed. I get on brilliantly well with my parents, which I'm very lucky to say I do. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, my parents, they never swayed me away from art. They were always like, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?"
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was like, it was more kind of the education system that was kind of moving me in a direction rather
Yeah.
than my close knit, what I would call my core, which is like mum, dad, friends, because I did have some friends that were more obviously when you're younger, you attract yourselves to like-minded people, and obviously mine was quite sport-based, but there were a few arty people, but a lot of them from like early, I mean, obviously I don't see them much anymore, in fact, at all anymore. Like my friends from school when I was like this big, but a lot of them are doctors, but a few of them have gone into, design careers. And I think it's one of those things that, because I went to try and do a tattoo, but it's basically anything creative. I went to go and be a art teacher at my old school. I did a tattoo apprenticeship. It was always whatever I was trying to do. It was always within that creative space.
Yeah.
And I said, just through that art foundation or the fundamentals of art, whichever one you did, same thing. It sounds like, it really kind of gave me, I say it was still very raw, still very new, but for me, it was just direction. It wasn't about at that age. It wasn't about making a career, making money, because most of the time I was just pissing it up the wall anyway. So it was just like, have I got enough to drink on Friday? Great, let's crack on.
I mean, you have priorities in college too. I mean, we have
exactly.
priorities.
Because obviously, I used to not run, but I used to, work as a waiter and a barman, in my late teens, early 20s. That's what you did, and you went to college. So it was kind of like, well, this is kind of what I'm doing at the moment, but I'm making some money, which I'm gonna drink. So that was kind of like the process in the early 20s. But yeah, slowly it kind of dawned on me that it was kind of starting to move a little bit. It wasn't, obviously when I was 10, 11, 12, don't be an artist, but when I was 21, 22, 23, it was possible. Graphic design was actually starting to become a viable career. The internet was booming, social media was just starting, and everybody was starting to like the power of creativity. And then suddenly, I mean, now with another 20 years later, and creativity is just, the creative brain is probably one of the most sought after on the planet. I would say now. So yeah, it's one of those things that I'm very glad I stuck with. But I'm also very glad as well. I think we chatted about this. I'm very glad I grew up in a design world that didn't have social media. So I've also got that lovely ability to not give a hoot about, I know the power of it. I know how important it is, and I use it as a part of my strategy and my business to grow my personal brand and my business brand. But it's very easy for me to step away from it and not get upset about people calling me a twat and people saying my work shit and people, doing all this. So I'm sorry, I'm not too sure if we're allowed to swear on this.
You do, James. You do.
You do.
this is a safe space for
Okay, this is a safe space.
For the bearded friends. Don't worry.
Okay, that's good. I'm never too sure. I should always ask before. I always get halfway
That's
through
good.
and think maybe I shouldn't swear. But yeah, it's yeah. So basically, yes, yeah. That's basically it, really. That's where I was kind of ending that social, because I speak to a lot of young designers and kind of the imposter syndrome, which we all go through as creatives a little
Right.
bit. But it's the ability to, you know, I share my work because I want to share my work to kind of help people see how I work. That's kind of what I do on social. But it's also my client work. Do you know what I mean? So basically, when I take pictures of my work for my client, I then share them online as well. And that obviously helps young designers. And I speak to so many who are just like, oh, I'm not too, I don't know if it's good enough to share. I don't know, the perfectionist kind of, I did a post on that the other day. Perfectionist is the killer of creativity and careers, as you'll know as well. So, yeah, I'm just very glad that I kind of randomly, mum and dad had sex at just the right time for me, for me to be here at the right time. Basically,
I'm gonna get mom and dad a thank you for conceiving me card. I
yeah.
don't think that's a niche on the wall of
No,
cards when you go to the card store. We're gonna
maybe
invent that
that's
genre. Conception
maybe.
thank you cards.
Yeah, new
James.
design agency set up. I'm gonna think.
Made by James Card Co. And
Yeah,
it's just
made
gonna
by
be
mum and dad. There you go.
the Martin Co. The Martin Co.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah, made by mum and the postman, possibly. Who knows?
There's so much to unpack there, and I love the fact that you kind of hinted and explained sort of that you kind of had that breakthrough before the dawn of social media. You watched the birth of social media, and now you've watched it taking off. And so you've had a career that spans the pre-social media era, the during, and now as it's building up, and now
Yeah,
the explosion, and now we can't live without. And I love that
yeah,
you alluded to the fact that you just use it as a tool, just like I do. It's just another business tool for me to map out my brand, for me to cast a wide net. I
yeah,
try not to use it to compare myself to others. I'm not going to compare where I'm at in my career to where you're at, because you're farther ahead than me. I'm not going to compare my like beginning or middle to someone else's further along. And I know
yeah,
that's the imposter syndrome that seeps in and digs its claws, and especially the
yeah,
young designers. And I love the fact that you brought up young designers and that you help them and you try to mentor them and you try to tell them, smooth it out, like it's all going to be okay, like you don't have to have everything figured out, because I didn't 15, 20 years ago, and
yeah,
now I'm just trucking along. Do you know what I mean? I didn't have
yeah.
social media. Like it's almost easier than ever to get your brand out there and build a brand. Do you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. I mean, and let's not get stuff wrong. I still don't have all my shit together.
Right.
I think we're all a work in progress,
Mm-hmm.
constant work in progress. But yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, it's a difficult conversation because if I was 16, 17, 18,
Mm-hmm.
being a 37-year-old man with social media is very different from being early 20s,
Yeah.
social dynamic with social media. So
Yes.
it's I'm very sure of myself. I know who I am. I've been through what I've been through. I'm happy with who I am, my career and everything. So it's much easier for me to kind of say, it's a tool, use it as it kind of comes. But I think I think I said that so just to get that kind of idea, because I know it's tough for people growing up, at late teens, early 20s. I was a mess, I'm not too sure social media would have done me any good in those kind of years.
Right.
So, but as a business, the beauty right now is like when I grew up in design, you would work in your local area.
Mm-hmm.
That would be your core. It'd be your local city. You'd probably work in your local city, or you'd go to London, but you'd never even dream about working abroad.
Mm.
And now not 90, but 75% of my clients are all over the world, and it
Mm-hmm.
is easy. Do you know what I mean? With
Yeah.
things like this, Zoom, obviously COVID, has kind of put it, being nice to kind of see my clients, but, with the technology that's here now, and the reach you can get globally through these channels, it's so important that I think if you are going to freelance or you're going to start an agency, you shouldn't you should be using these things as powerful tools. As say, not, I know people who sit on social media or sit on Instagram expecting work to find them, and I don't think that's a particularly good use of time. You still got to, it's not easy. My dad always said to me, it's not easy to get people to give you money. And it's so true. You have to build trust. You have to, what I like to call it, like a digital footprint, so getting a solid web presence, Google testimonials, case studies, solid social media. So, I often kind of think it's not how do I find clients, is basically like, how can I get clients to trust me, is the kind of way I like to spin it. So if they're kind of coming to me, anybody worth their kind of salt client wise is probably going to be looking at 2 or 3 designers, probably going to get some prices. And then they'll also be doing a bit of research, looking at websites, possibly looking at Google reviews, possibly looking at social media content, seeing if there's some consistency, trying to find your face, looking at YouTube videos. I mean, the amount of work I get through social media is bonkers. And also when they kind of come to me, a lot of the pitching process is already done, because I lay my life out on Instagram, and I show everything I do on my process in YouTube. So when it comes to people coming to work with me, they're like, let's go. And they're like, how's your dog? How's Kate, your wife? And I'm like, where the shit are you hiding? It's very weird, but it's also the power, that what we were talking about, that human element. That human element is so important in today's world, because there are so many people hiding, scamming behind closed doors, that if you can get the confidence over time, it doesn't happen overnight, but over time, build up that confidence. Me and you are probably the same. It's tough when you start. You're kind of a little bit nervous. My first YouTube, I look back at it now and I think, crikey, that was awful. And that was only last April, but when I first started doing stories on Instagram, it was very, this is weird, this is strange, I'm not sure if I like it. But you do it once, you do it twice, suddenly you've done it 100, 1,000 times, and now I do it without even thinking. I look at my stories and I go, I can't even remember posting that yesterday. Do you know what I mean? I was obviously just doing something. But I say it's just practice. But the face is your face and your personality is the most important thing when it comes to your business, I feel.
It is a journey, and it's really hard to break the walls down, especially for not just young designers, young entrepreneurs, that this is a journey. And if you're 22, 23, who the hell has their shit figured out at 22, 23? Who has it figured out at 32, 33? You that's the point where you start to figure it out a little bit more. And any entrepreneur would tell you, this whole job is just trying things, and if they don't work, I try another thing, and if that works, I'll repeat the process. I'll try to monetize that process and try to get some return out of that. But there's a whole bunch of shit that I'm doing every day that is not working, and a few things that do, and so I try to repeat those processes. And one of the things that seems to work for every entrepreneur, design world or non-design world, is this digital footprint that you were talking about. Showing up, being here, being there, offering advice, being valuable, and sharing your wisdom and your insights on the platforms that you're showing up on regularly and consistently. Eventually, when it's time to do a Zoom meeting, the person on the other end of the screen is going to say, I feel like I already know you. Like, I feel like I already, how's your dog? How's your wife? Like, how the hell do you? Oh, it's because you've been following me and consuming what I put out there. And that's the trust factor. And so we don't have to do this song and dance when we first meet. It's like, okay, well, this is what we can just get right to business kind of thing. That's that trust that's built. You just put yourself out there. It's a dance. It's a trial and error process, and you're constantly showing up, and you're constantly figuring things out. And your audience can see that. Your audience can see what you're doing. You're like, you know what? I want to work with this guy. People are going to work with who they like, right? Yeah, they'll do the
Yeah.
comparison shopping, like you said. I'm looking at, some design work. Maybe I'll talk to James, I'll talk to Nick, I'll talk to someone else.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's who they like the most, because they figured that James, Nick, and the other guy can all do this thing. Yeah, they'll do it
Yeah.
different styles, and stylistically it'll be a little bit different, but I think they'll all come to the same conclusion that I need. They'll come to the same solution that I need for my business.
Yeah.
But who do
Who
I
can I
like?
work with? Yeah.
Yes, right. And so we want to see young entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs well on their way just to be personable, just to
Yeah.
be a human being, right?
Yeah. And I think that is, I think, yeah, it's 100% true. And I think it's also important that you don't have to be doing them all. Do you know what I mean? I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on Twitter, I'm
Right.
not on TikTok, but the ones I am on, I am on,
Mm.
and I put effort into. I'm not, doing a tweet once a month, doing an Instagram post once a month. Like me saying, I'm on all social media, but I'm actually on no social media. But I say, like the one I am on, I'm posting, I'm engaging a lot on Instagram. I'm starting to ramp up, YouTube. I'm
Yes.
pretty moving on LinkedIn as well. And you don't have to be doing them all, but the ones you do, you've got to put effort into. It's not just
Hmm.
a post a week or a
Hmm.
post a month. You've got to be active. And because imagine a client coming to you, seeing your lovely feed for the first time and going, oh yeah, that work looks cool. Hit on the last post and it comes up November 2019. They're going to go,
Yeah.
well, where have they been for the last, do you know what I mean, year and a
Right.
bit?
Right.
So I think that's why. I mean, people aren't stupid, especially if you're kind of getting into the realm of, especially, obviously we can talk about logo design. I know you're a bit more into the kind of brand side of it as well.
Hmm.
But if somebody's coming to me and they're going to drop some fairly decent money on a logo design, they're going to do their research. They're not just going to go, oh, I've seen a post, let's go. They're going to do, as you say, look at that digital footprint. Are they trustworthy? Is my money safe? What's their process like? What can I find out about them? Because, I'm going to give them my company to put a logo against, brand identity, or whatever it's going to be, website. And I need to be able to trust them. And I
Right.
truly believe, like you say, that personable human element to design is the most important thing. As you say, like I might win X amount of logos. I mean, there's way better logo designers out there than me, but I think I probably show more of myself than a lot
Hmm.
of logo designers. Therefore, the clients trust me because it's like the
Right.
amount of times people come to me and the work I get is they go, your logo works great, but I just love your process, and
Right.
that's
Right.
the weird thing. They don't kind of, as you say, like everybody can come to a conclusion, come to a logo, have good enough skills in Illustrator to execute something nicely, but how do they get there? What's their
Yes.
process like? Do I want to work with, I really, I think that's the most important part of design
Yeah.
is how you get from zero to hero. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, it's the thinking. It's that when you allow them to see into your mind and you're
yeah,
showing them this is the process I'm going through, and tonight this is the solution I came to. Is that the final solution? It may not be. I've only shown you 10 slides worth of an Instagram carousel, but at least I've
yeah,
shown you a glimpse into my world, and I'm not hiding behind an icon or hiding behind a logo in my profile pic. This is me. This is who I am. I'm going to show you what I'm doing, and
yeah,
that's what they're buying into. Are they paying for the final solution? Sure, and that's any entrepreneur, that's not just a designer. You could be a
yeah, of
contractor.
course, yeah,
You could provide some sort of cleaning service. They're looking for the solution, but also they
yeah,
if they're going to let you into their home and they're going to let you into their life and they're going to give you their credit card, like they want that trust factor there. They've done their comparison shopping. They've seen you for the last 2 or 3 months. They've been stalking you and lurking on your profile. And finally, they've drawn up the courage to talk to you, to send you that email, to send you that DM, and say, "Hey, I've been watching you for the last little while. I need you now."
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And so and then you can say something like, well, why didn't you reach out 2 or 3 months ago when you started
yeah,
following me? I would have been happy to talk to them, but they needed to trust you. They needed to see that you're going to be the
yeah,
same guy consistently. So you've done your job
yeah,
of showing up. And that's what any entrepreneur
yeah.
needs to hear, I think.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, and I think another thing you approached on there a little bit is the relationship side of it. You
Yeah.
should never, I can only talk about logo design because that's the industry I'm in, but I think it works multiple industries and will do forever. Is like the power of building a relationship, like never seeing your client as like a monetary transaction, I say,
Right.
you know. So you should always be, whenever I'm working with somebody, I'm working with them. I'm not working for them or anything like that. It's a partnership. They are paying me, they trust me to be a part of their team and bring their dreams alive. Therefore, I would still, every logo I've done over the last 5 years, I would go out for beer with every single client, maybe bar like one or two. Do you know what I mean? But
Right.
that's an important thing. And do you know how many of those clients have given my details to their friends who are starting businesses?
That's the
I
key.
can't remember the last time I advertised. For the last 5 years, I have put no money in advertising. All I've done is put time into social media and my clients and over delivered, made sure they're happy. And now I've got 500 logos out in the world over the last 4 or 5 years
Mhm.
that are all acting as little kind of advertising tools for me. And then the
Yeah.
humans that have them are like, you know, go and see this guy, go and see this guy. And but that's another great thing, no pitching. I saw you work you did for blah, 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 blah. When can we start? And I'm like, sweet, let's just crack on.
That's right.
There's already that kind of barrier broken down. But that's come through, like you'll know as well, it comes through turning up every single day, even when you don't want to, showing up on social media, even when you don't want to. And I think it's that compound effect, isn't it? The more effort you put into yourself and investing in yourself and investing time in yourself and building your company's brand or your personal brand or whatever it is, that will always pay you back that time.
100%. I love that. Trust, human connection, showing up as a real person. These are the core pillars of entrepreneurship. And it sounds like
Yeah.
your only path is to continue down that road. Essentially, that's what's helped
Yeah,
you
I mean,
get this
I'm in
far.
it now. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's yeah.
No going back.
I mean, I mean, I've always kind of gone with a very honest and authentic. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I don't. You've seen what I share basically all of my life on social media, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I still get clients, and I think that's an important thing for people to understand. Like I was told, because you've got tattoos, you'll never get a job.
Oh yeah.
Because you can't,
How
you've got to
times have
hide certain
changed, huh?
things. How times have changed, indeed. Yeah.
Now, if you
And
have
obviously, like,
tattoos, you're like, oh, you're cool and hip, and he's super creative. I want to hang out with him. How
yeah,
times
I
have
know
changed.
it's bonkers, isn't it? Yeah, it was very taboo. I mean, it's not as taboo as it was, way back when, but
Yeah.
still, like, mid 90s, early 2000s, it was like, don't get any tattoos that are on show because when you go for a job interview, you're gonna have to wear a suit. You're gonna have to
James,
do this and
I've
go
often
into.
told people that you are the Hell's Angels of the design world. I've often been quoted as saying that, and I know that's out there in social media now. So that's gonna hit you
To,
one day.
to
That's
be
my
to
word.
be fair, I quite like that. I'm all right with that.
You're okay with that? Do you have a motorcycle in the garage too, James?
I don't.
But that's the next toy.
That's the problem with having a mum as a nurse. Is she would kick my fucking ass
Oh,
if I
I
got on a
know. I hear
motorcycle.
this all the time. Do you know what she calls them? She calls them a donor cycle. I'm like, what's a donor cycle? It's because
Yeah.
when you crash and you're dead, we just donate all your organs. I'm like, oh, that's grotesque. She goes, well, don't
Yeah.
buy one. Wait till I'm dead. You can do whatever you want. I'm like, but you're
Yeah.
probably gonna live forever. Like, oh, I'm not gonna wait till I'm
Yeah.
60 to get
Yeah.
a
Thanks,
bike.
mum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank.
So I
Yeah, mum.
told her,
My mum's still in control of me as well, mate. Don't worry about it.
well, I told her it won't be a crotch rocket. It'll be like a Harley. So something a
Yeah.
lot
Low
safer.
rider.
Right. And so I don't know
Smooth.
but that still won't be a smooth conversation to have. That'll be when I bring that home one day, that'll be a tough Christmas following. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. Make sure you put some Instagram content around that because that'd be funny.
Yeah, and that's how
Yeah.
I'll just send her a DM. I wanted you to know this is happening before I go live with this.
Yeah, yeah.
James, man, this has been awesome and enlightening, and obviously super fun. Hanging out with you is always great, and I definitely want
And
to
you,
talk
man.
to you again. What can I look forward to in the Made by James arena on your path to entrepreneurship? I know you've got a couple of secret sauce projects you're working on that you can't quite tell anybody. But what can I look forward to as a fan of your brand? Because I am a fan of you and your brand. What can I look forward to coming up from Made by James?
Well, there'll be obviously a lot of the same. There'll be a lot of authentic, honest, real talk around the design world in YouTube and Instagram, as always. Always share my process. I've got, luckily, very fortunately, got a book dropping. Made by James book dropping. Pre-orders very soon, early March, when that's going to be dropping 2nd of November. And then there's also a secret thing happening, which is still very secret for me because I'm still trying to figure it out. But there's some big stuff happening this year that is going to change the logo world. I think.
Really?
I hope so. I mean,
Really?
if anything, I can always be a salesman because that sounded really, really good.
I've got chills, man.
Yeah.
You sold me, and it's gonna change the logo world. Well, if it's coming from you, then I would trust that, right? As the expert.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I mean, as I said, if anything, it's going to help a shit ton of people. Put it that way. So,
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, so it's still kind of hush hush. Still trying to figure it out. But you can always find time for the right things, can't you? So, but yeah, just more of the same, mate. Just authentic, vulnerable honesty in design and just enjoying it. We get paid to be creative. What's more fun than that?
I think so. More of the same, just better.
Yeah, more of the same, just more better. Better, more. Yeah.
More better. The gooder part is coming, and you'll see much more good.
The much more gooder stuff is definitely coming, like gooder English as well. Yeah,
of course. I mean, I'm not editing any of that. That's staying in.
Yeah, that's good. I love it.
James, where can people find you? You said you hang out on Instagram and a few other places. If people wanted to find out more about you and see your stuff, where can they go?
So yeah, you can find me on Instagram at made.by.james, YouTube Made by James, or my website madebyjames.co. I've also got a super cool newsletter for any creatives and designers out there. You can just type in logoblackbook.com and it will shoot you straight there.
I am subscribed and following almost all of those things. So I know I'm part of the YouTube community. I'm on your website a lot, and obviously I see you on Instagram. So I'm already plugged into your matrix, buddy.
Awesome. So yeah, if anybody needs anything, just ask Nick. He knows where I am.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, you need design services? Oh, let me just patch you through to James. No, don't.
Yeah.
I'm repping James now. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks very much, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, James. See you later.